Hi, everyone. I am Steph Warner. I am a certified emotion code practitioner, and I'm also a quantum living advocate for the AOScan Mobile by Solex. And our call tonight, we are joined by Molly Cover, who will introduce herself in just a moment. Molly and I have been friends for several years. We have known each other for a really long time, way before we got into the health and wellness world. But I wanted to share a little bit about, kind of what we're going to be talking about, a little bit about myself and my journey. Um, I got sick several years ago. I was exposed to extreme levels of toxic mold, and I became very, very ill because of it. And it was only naturopathic and alternative medicine that was able to identify that for me and help me to recover and eventually fully heal from those symptoms. I had bouts of extreme chronic fatigue where I was sleeping up to 18 hours a day for several months on end. Um, it was very difficult for me to remember things. I actually got lost driving home one day with my children in the car in a town that I had been living in for a decade. And so it was a very scary and difficult time. But on that journey, I began to learn so much more about my health and about the different options that are available to us when it doesn't seem like traditional medicine has any answers. And so as I went on this journey, I began to piece together that homeopathy was a good fit for me, that even some German new medicine was a good fit for me, that lymphatic treatments were good, and changing our water and filtering our water helped improve our health, filtering our air in our home. So if there's anything out there that needed to be researched or studied or dove into, I went down that rabbit hole. I also have a daughter who was diagnosed with sensory processing disorder at the age of 2, and it took me 3 years with the help of amazing holistic practitioners to finally fully heal her and recover her from that as well. So I do have quite an extensive personal experience for both myself, my whole family, in dabbling in this holistic realm. And that's kind of where Molly and I's paths crossed. We had been friends previously, and then we were reconnected again because she was working at the clinic where I received the most help and the best treatment. I'll let Molly introduce herself and tell you a little about her, what she does now, and how she has come to do this type of work.
Thank you, Steph. Can everyone hear me? Am I good? Well, yes. Oh my gosh. Just kind of listening to your story again, I'm like reminding myself of how similar things that we've been through and just testimonies and how God has kind of led us to where we both are. Steph and I met, like she said, several years ago based on skincare. I have to laugh about that because little did I know that some face cream that we were connecting on was going to lead us to this amazing health journey together. So it's funny where God leads. But yes, I have a very similar story to Steph's. I was very ill as well in my early to mid 20s. I was in the beauty industry, and I became a little bit more of the head and mental stuff was off for me. Like she had described of getting lost in her hometown. Similar things for me. I would have people come pick me up alongside of the road because I couldn't remember where I was going. The chronic fatigue. Also, mine was a little bit more hormonal. I went several years without even having a period. It just knew things weren't right. Went the traditional route of doctors and trying to come up with answers. You get the blood work done, you run all the tests, you do all the things. And I feel like I didn't really get a clear answer from anyone. It was just like, well, let's try some anti-anxiety meds. Maybe this is in your head, kind of that route. And I knew that's not what I wanted to do or where I wanted to go with this. I feel like my family didn't really get on board until I started losing my eyesight, and that was the biggest kicker for me. So like Steph said, we both kind of connected through a clinic of holistic practitioners that we both worked with, and eventually I started working there. But very much the therapies and avenues of treatment that were used on both of us were homeopathy, like she said, lymphatic drainage, and just education in this world that we're now in, and we're both so thankful for. But it's not out there. I feel like maybe now in the past couple years it's becoming a little bit more mainstream, but 10 years ago when this was happening, it's like, oh, what does heavy metal detox mean, and how do we get it out of our bodies? So yeah, so that's kind of our story on connection. But yes, I now do a number of different therapies. I work a lot with homeopathy. This is my main avenue of detoxification of the body, and just really going in depth with internal terrain theory. I don't know how familiar you guys are with that. We can kind of talk about that, but the environment of our cells and your blood, this is truly where life and death begins. And we're gonna jump into that a little bit more with the dry blood analysis test that I do, and what Steph and I are talking about today. But yeah, just how we got into this world, and just the kind of different therapies. I also really work with the lymphatic system as well. That is, the true sewer system of our bodies, and have had some great results with that therapy as well. So I have a number of different avenues. I always have a lot of great conversation with other practitioners. It's never just one thing for people, right? It's a number of things, and it's always finding your combination and that balance for you and what's working. So absolutely.
So I'm just going to do a quick little outline of what we're going to talk about tonight before we really dive into it. We're going to talk about like this little experiment that Molly and I decided to do. And then we're going to talk about how the results of that little experiment from the dry blood analysis compared to my AO scan reports, how we put together protocols based off of that information. And we were able to pair her information with my information from the device, how we were able to use the device to identify the supplements that my body needed, just go into the depth of reporting of the AO scan and how that works, and what Molly's recommendations were for me, how I am using this now to heal my body from the things that were discovered. And then we're going to open it up for, Q&A. We're going to talk a little bit about just like the pillars of healthy lifestyle and how the AO scan just seamlessly integrates with all of those. So yeah, there will be time at the end for some of your questions. But Molly, I'm going to let you chat. About this experiment, and I'm going to let you I'm going to turn the hosting over to you.
Perfect. Before I get into pictures and really in depth of kind of this case study that Steph and I did, I want to talk a little bit about just blood in general. Okay, so this is I know this sounds funny, but as I talk with a lot of my mentors that are not here in the States, we tend to call this the juice of life, okay? And I know that sounds weird, but it truly is. This is, again, where life and death begins. This is your blood vessels, your lymphatic vessels, everything. This is the pathways and the highways of your body. So just imagine that all of the information inside of us has to travel on something, right? And this is that fluid. So this is not only the physical, but it's also very much the emotional. So I just want to kind of put that out there before I get more in depth with this testing, because I think it's really important to understand just how valuable this information is. How many of you, I like to talk about the question of like, when we go to the doctor and have blood work done, they take the blood, through an IV or shot or prick or finger, whatever form it is, and they run it through a machine, right? And we get some number readings. Okay, and those number readings are going to tell us what, that we're high or low in something, or that we're in normal range, or maybe we're deficient in something. That's the majority of what we're going to find out in those. But I want to bring this back old school. I want to ask you guys, you know, when was the last time someone actually looked at your blood, right? This concept isn't around anymore. And I say anymore because it used to be this way. And that's the sad part, and the part that I love educating on, because this way of practice and this testing dates back to the early 1920s. Okay. So Gunther Enderlein, he was German. He actually came up with this process. It's called live and dry blood analysis. It's still done today, mainly in Europe. Okay, and I can list a bunch of links below on different practitioners and doctors and actually hospitals overseas that they still do this in, and really use it as the basis. And so just kind of wanted to give a little backstory on what this is, but what I'm actually going to be doing and showing you. So I ship out blood slides basically daily to people all over the country, but what it's called dry blood analysis. So what I'm doing is I ship you slides, you prick your finger, put the drop of blood on the slide, let it dry overnight, and ship it back to me. Or if you're local, we do the same thing. I've got a couple on that have done through this process. And I'm basically going to look at your blood very magnified under a dark field microscope. Okay. And if you were local, you could come in and I could show you your cells and show you in live time too. But what we've discovered is the dry blood, how the blood dries, actually tells a bigger story. Okay. And that story is going to be your life, what you've been exposed to, what the buildup you have, the weak organs, the weak areas, the waste within us too. So not only on a physical, but also very much on an emotional. So I'm going to show you some pictures real quick, just to kind of play off this. So Steph and I talked, I don't know, this was, gosh, a couple months ago about
June, I
doing,
think. Yeah.
yes, yes, about doing this case study together. And she's like, let's give this a try. I'm like, I'm all about it. So we used her client. Steph is very much the client here. And so took her blood and also paired this with the AO scan, and just, for our own knowledge really in the beginning was like, we want to see how accurate this thing is. Because when I look at the blood, I mean, I'll ask you questions and it'll be like, oh, how do you know that? And it's like, well, it's in, it's drawing that way. This is how it's showing up. So it's like the blood never lies is what I say. So I'm going to show you some pictures, but what I'll kind of educate you as I go of what I'm supposed to be seeing and so forth. So let me just bring this up here. So I'll share. Okay. So we'll start with picture number 1. Okay, so this is pretty magnified. So I want you to imagine like a circle, how the blood would dry. In a perfect world, we want this drop to be completely circular, and we want it to dry in rings. So I say rings, like imagine a tree and you cut off the tree and you look at a tree stump and it's going to be rings, right? So we mimic nature, okay? And so the blood should be drying in that very same effect, okay? So in a perfect world where we're all super healthy and we're not living in toxicity and emotion and stress, the fibrin of the blood should be completely closed together. So there should be no openings whatsoever, no like little white dots like this or openings or anything like that. It should be all just red blood. Like there's nothing in it. So these openings or little white patches through here, and I'll show you more. Here's a big one down here. Those are going to be stress or inflammatory responses in the body. Okay. And this can be physical or emotional stress or inflammation. Okay. And so, like I said, this is rings. So this innermost ring here that we have is going to be the deepest core of us. So like our sex organs. So like ovaries, uterus, testes, prostate, that type of thing. Okay, as we get out a little bit farther, this is going to be like liver, bowel, adrenal area, kind of endocrine system, gut health, all of that stuff. As we get farther out, we're getting into like joints and muscles, okay? We get a little bit farther out here. This is going to be like all the mucous membranes. Sorry, we got somebody jumping in here. All the mucous membranes of the body. Okay, so when I say mucous membranes, that's talking head to toe, sinuses. For women, breast tissue, ovaries, uterus area. As women, we have so many mucous membranes. So that's always a big one for us. And then as we get on the outermost rings, it's more like lymphatic circulatory system. And then the very outer edge is your skin. Okay. So just kind of giving you a perspective of what this looks like. So with Steph right off the bat, okay, I want to show you this ring 3 here. We've got a little bit we've got more openings than normal. Okay, so these white spots are kind of openings, and they tend to be in kind of this pattern of this third ring throughout here. So this is respiratory system, this is mucous membranes, hormonal, and breast tissue, all of the above. Okay, so that kind of breaks it down to a category. Okay, so this, when I'm taking my notes, I'm like, okay, ring 3 is stressed and inflamed. Okay, from there, we can see kind of some of these little like crow's feet or black dots throughout here. And I'm going to show you in other pictures too, but this is just kind of the first one. There's one a little bit right here. So parasite waste is also really going to show up in the blood. So I'm going to show you quite a few pictures of that. I've got some better ones actually as we go through here. This is the same slide. So let me keep going. Okay, so this one you can see them pretty well. So there's one here and through here. So we're starting to get into ring 3 with this parasite waste, which is like mucous membrane. So that's when I ask Steph or the client, it was like, okay, tell me about allergies, sinuses, anything like that, breast tissue, respiratory, are we compromised in our lungs? I can really navigate and pinpoint if we have parasites, where they're gonna be at in the body just due to the waste buildup in the blood. Also in ring 4, this is gonna be more joint muscle pain, okay? Pain, inflammation, things like that. So that's when I would ask, okay, are we having any joint pain, things like that are gonna show up. So it's gonna be patterns like this. As we see these stress or inflammatory areas that get a lot more and get bigger as they flare out like this is what we call systemic stress. So the body is tired. The body is just tired of A, trying to fight something off, and B, just, been dealing with stress either emotionally or physically for a long time. And I see this a lot in people, especially over the past year with COVID and, the unknown and everything. So it's pretty common. We'll keep going here. I just want to show you guys some examples, basically. This one shows some better pictures. So this again is ring 3. So this is going to be her weakest area, especially as I'm seeing a pattern. Every sample is showing up ring 3, ring 3, ring 3. Okay. And then we get into the middle here, and this is going to be kind of this, the black is more defined throughout here. It's kind of like cracks. And that is also going to be how like parasite waste dries. So we definitely talked about parasites. I'll tell you that. And then I want to show you color change is also a really big thing with this, okay? So again, in a perfect world, the blood sample would be completely red throughout the whole sample. You'll see throughout the edges here, we start to kind of fade to almost like a pink color and then like a brown or black on the outskirts, okay? So pink is always going to represent fungus or candida or mold, kind of that whole family, okay? So that's definitely when we talk that world. And, knowing Steph's background, that was a huge piece for her. And then when we get to the outskirts, the outer rim normally in people is very strong of that black or brown in color. And that's always going to be like a metal or chemical type of toxicity. So that is very common throughout as well. So just wanted to kind of show what I'm seeing and just some common patterns. This one I really zoomed in. I wanted to show you guys the big color change on this. As you get to the outskirts, it's more of a brown and black throughout here, which is chemical metal. Again, ring 3 is more inflamed and stressed. We are going to go over her AO scan results with you too, just to kind of show you the patterns of how accurate this is. But I really just want you to understand of what we can see in the blood and a good foundation, I guess, to get started with people. So this one, lastly, this last sample that I took, I usually take 4 to 5 per person, just so we have a couple different samples to look at, was the major pink ring on the outskirts, and then that brown or black throughout as well. So yeah, just to kind of give you an example of what this is. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll switch back
Yes.
to me.
Yes. Let's see. Perfect. Make host. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so being able to see all of that was just fascinating to me. And there's a couple things that I wanted to share specifically. Let me see if I can pull up. So in that outer ring where there were, there was that dark line of like blackish gray around my blood, I really didn't think that I had much of a heavy metal problem. However, my AO scan report at that time showed me very differently. So I was presenting, this is my AO scan report, and it is showing all of these heavy metals that are in red. Some of them stayed in double red even after receiving the frequencies. But this was really uncommon for me, but it was so interesting to see it represented in my blood samples. Now, the AO scan, what it's doing with the frequencies, when it's doing those optimizations, it is taking those that are identified as being out of balance. It's identifying the energetic frequency of each of those heavy metals. And then it is sending optimizing frequencies to help push your body back into balance. So in the body code, which I am an emotion code and I also do body code as well, we know that because everything has energy, we can release the energetic life force of anything that exists in this world and communicate to the body to instruct the immune system to seek and eliminate whatever that negative pathogen is or that heavy metal. You can communicate with your body on an energetic level because a lot of times these heavy metals are hiding or they're being suppressed by things like parasites who feed off of them and want to keep them around. So even though the AO scan was energetically pushing my body back into these greens, energetically saying, let's get rid of the energy of these heavy metals, I still needed to do the physical work of pulling them out and identifying the supplements that would help me to do that. So I want to share with you, let's see here. I'm going to share with you my parasite scan. So this is the parasite scan. Sorry, someone wants to come in. That I did just a couple of days before Molly came over to my house. And again, this was quite a lot for me. There's a few that remained in double red. Some of them got pushed over into the green, but I knew that I had a parasite issue. I had been feeling horrible. My digestive system was not good at all. I was experiencing bouts of like extreme constipation, and I knew that I had a parasite issue, but I didn't know necessarily what to do about it. I'll be honest with you, I was not being a good user of my AO scan device. I wasn't doing parasite frequencies. I was kind of just like hemming and hawing over what should I do. But once I saw this report, then everything kind of started making sense to me. Because several of these, like if you see these that are in red here and this group that are in red here, I can't bring up the exact definitions for you, but I will tell you that several of these are specific to tropical regions of the world, specifically rainforests. And I had spent some time in Costa Rica in April of this year. And ever since I had been to Costa Rica, I had exacerbated digestive issues. I was super swollen lymphatically. And so it was interesting when Molly pointed out that third ring of my mucous membranes, my lymphatic system, and my breast tissue were showing issues. I was having issues with all of those areas. I was having extreme pain in my breasts right before my cycles. I was super swollen and just bloated in retaining water in my body. I knew that my lymphatic system wasn't draining properly because I was getting massive headaches and pain in my neck and chest. And the other interesting thing that she pointed out is that several of the parasites were associated with my reproductive system. And then also she said, are you having joint pain? And I thought about it, and on a regular basis, no, I'm pretty loose and limber, except within that last couple of months, I had been experiencing extreme joint pain in my finger joints, and I was getting these bizarre blisters on all of my knuckles right before my cycle. And I believe that it's because the parasites that were associated with my reproductive system were getting flared up before my cycle, causing me to have this excessive joint pain and these bizarre blisters. And I'm happy to say that since I've been doing a protocol, that has gone away. So I know at least that it's working. But it really was so fascinating to be able to connect the dots with my AO scan report showing all of these things that were energetically taking place in my body, and then seeing them, how that was physically playing out, because it's not that you are seeing the physical pathogen in that dry blood analysis, it is the waste that you are seeing. Those little black dots that were left behind. So this was how that all compared. And we just wanted to be able to show that with you guys. And now I kind of want to chat a little bit about how we put together those protocols, and how we use the AO scan to really help us with that. Okay, so when Molly was at my house, this was actually when she did my blood sample, is when I was introducing her to the device. I had briefly told her about it previously, but she had brought along her binder of all of the little vials from her Cell Core supplements. If you're not familiar with Cell Core supplements, they're fantastic. These are the ones that Molly uses, and these are the ones that I was most interested in seeing, which was in resonance with me. So she brought all of these vials that had all of these Cell Core supplements in them. And as someone who uses muscle testing for a living, I know that I can go one by one and muscle test. Do I need this? Do I need this? Except when there's a list of like 65 different supplements that you could potentially need, that takes some time. So I got out my AO scan and I showed Molly. I was like, I really need to show you this. Now, since you brought this binder of all of these vials, let's just enter them all in to my supplement library on my AO scan. And she was like, oh, okay. So I took a stack of all of these vials and I put them on the screen. I'm like, I'm gonna erase all the negative energy from them first. They've been exposed to Wi-Fi and EMF. And she's like, oh, I didn't even think about that before I entered them in. So then I just went in, let's add a new supplement here. We're gonna name it. We're gonna select the category for it. We're gonna enter in the details of, is it a capsule? Is it a tincture? And then all we're gonna do is set it on top normally, and the vials were just a single dose. It wasn't a full bottle. So pretend this is a single dose of something. You set it on top, you press the scan button, and your device captures the energetic signature of that supplement, stores it into the library, categorized for you, and then you go into your quick scan, you do a, let's say, custom scan. You select now, I'm gonna select the Cell Core category. And then when I do a quick scan with my headset, it takes 10 seconds. This device will then compare the energy of my body to the energy of all of those supplements entered into my library, and then tell me instantly which 6 supplements are most in resonance with my body in that moment. Okay. This has been an absolute game changer for me, for identifying which supplements I need each day, for identifying which supplements I need for specific health issues, whether it is something acute, like my children all of a sudden come down with a fever, or I'm having some sort of digestive issue. I don't have to go through my whole cabinet of stuff and muscle test it. 10 seconds, I have my answer. Did you want to share anything about that, Molly?
Yeah, okay. So no, I love that you really touched on being able to scan these items in, because that was huge for me in a sense of just with clients that maybe are not local. And I'll let you kind of get it. I mean, you know more about this than I do, but being able to send frequencies of specific homeopathy to people has been huge with this too. My library of homeopathy is large. Like Steph said, we touched on one company, which was Cellcore. They're awesome, but you know, putting together different cocktails or combinations for people is a lot of what I do too. So being able to do that on a regular basis, but then also, like you said, you having this device, you were able to wake up daily and see what you needed for this protocol, which I love too. So
Yeah, so before, if you are a practitioner and you have a client and maybe you're having them come in to you weekly for additional treatments, you can literally scan anything into your supplement library. You can also type in the name of specific therapies. You can type in like ozone therapy. You can type in sound healing or neurofeedback therapy. And the device is literally just asking the body, is this particular thing in resonance with this person and will it help them? And if it comes up on your list, then it helps you to adjust the protocol on a weekly or monthly basis for truly what your clients need. So maybe your client doesn't still need to take the exact same parasite supplement every single day, all of the time. If they're coming into you and you have the device, you can say, oh, you know what? Now it's actually time to switch over to this other type of parasite because of the specific types of parasites that you have, and they need different supplements to eradicate them. You can also use it to adjust things. Yeah, go ahead and add that to
oh,
that, Molly.
sorry. I was just going to add on that. You're 100% right on that. Just myself working with parasites, we could do a whole nother webinar on. It's like a whole nother topic, right? And I've done this with several people before, but you're completely 100% right in that. They're so intelligent, okay? And when they're in our system, and they only come out in the fluids of our body to eat and to breed. So they're storing in your deep muscle tissue. And you're 100% spot on when you say maybe changing things up or cycling things. John, I think you're on here we working together with different clients. It's like we're constantly changing cycles and protocols for people with parasites because we always have to outsmart them. And so just that alone is huge when we can be testing so much more often to see what that looks like. And I feel like the progress can be so much quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want to add to that. So, because I have my own device, I didn't have to go to Molly to get scans. I could do this on my own every single day. And I took it upon myself to do those quick scans in the morning and only take the supplements that the device was recommending, because it's really just a reflection of what my body is saying. And I want to trust my body through that process. So as I was going along over the weeks, it was really interesting because it was saying less about parasites, and then it brought up Bartonella, which is associated with Lyme's disease. And that's another sort of stealth infection that I know I do have. And at that particular time is when my body needed support that was like the next level, right? But that didn't necessarily come up in my blood work at that time because things evolved and changed. We were peeling back these layers of, okay, now we're taking care of heavy metals and parasites. Here's this next thing that is coming through that is needing support. I also am able to then go into Cephi, which stands for Subtle Energy Frequency Imprinter. And on this, there's over 2,000 different frequencies specific to diseases, ailments, acute issues, pain in the body, specific systems and organs in the body that you can generate frequencies from this device. They are sent to you through the quantum field. It is a scalar wave technology. So you can send these to anyone, anywhere that has a profile set up. They receive them instantaneously. And what's amazing about this is that you can create a playlist of frequencies. So I can go in and say, all right, tonight, especially around the full moon, I'm going to do a parasite frequency. I'm also going to do a lymphatic depressant frequency to help move my lymph system. I'm going to do digestion frequency to help support and keep things moving while I'm trying to kill off some of these other things. I'm going to do liver support frequencies. Whatever it is, and I can muscle test for these things, which frequencies I need. I can also create my own homeopathic remedies at home by using the Cephi. I have these little bottles of sugar pills. I can use the quick scan to identify which of those homeopathic frequencies my body most needs. And then all I do is set my little sugar pills or water on top of the device, and it imprints into the object. These sugar pills now have that exact frequency. They're exact replicas of homeopathic supplements that you can get at your naturopathic health food store, right? And now you can do this at home. So there's so many different ways to use all of this to support you, to send things like this home with your clients. Let's say you are seeing clients in a clinic, they don't have a device. You can imprint frequencies into precious metals. You can do it on their wedding rings, their bracelets. There's also accessories that Solex sells, certain bracelets that hold on to frequencies for up to 7 days. So yeah, just kind of wanted to go into like the depth of this device and how it can support both the practitioner and the client. It's easy enough to use that if people are open-minded enough, they can have it themselves, or you can just use it as a practitioner to support your clients in multiple different ways. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about anything else you wanted to add, Molly, about like, how are you using the AO scan now? You already had lots of tools. How have you benefited from this? Yeah.
Yes, I'm very much still learning, so bear with me, but it's still new to me. The thing is I like it does so many things that I'm still learning. But very much kind of the case study that I did with you of almost, let's take a foundation of, I have a pretty in-depth consultation form, the blood analysis, and then the vitals of that too. And then I have with some, added in a little bit of the inner voice stuff too, just to get into the emotional aspect. But yeah, and having all of it is just for me that much more of like of guidance and okay, where to go and being that foundation. We've done a few webinars on, kind of the 5 pillars to illness and disease. And it's very much of going off of those things of toxicity, emotion, stress, parasites, all the things, pH balance of the blood. That's a huge, huge factor. And so all of this ties in together. And I love it just as having that additional tool for myself. So I need to get into the other aspects still of the other things, but to me it's been such a great addition to adding in with everything that I can get much more defined with my protocols for sure.
Awesome. So yeah, I do want to take a quick moment just to go over all of the different scans and programs that the AO scan has. For those of you who aren't familiar yet, I know we're kind of diving right in and talking about all the ways that we're using it. There's multiple programs. The first one up here is Quick Scan. And Quick Scan is where you will find your morning, your evening, your afternoon. This is where you can identify which supplements that you have entered into your library are most in resonance with you in that moment. There's energetic auras. You can energetically clear yourself and shield yourself, and this supports you in doing that, which is great. You know, if you're working with people one-on-one and you're absorbing their energy, you can use this as a support to shield yourself. There's 3-minute boosts, and these are all song-based frequencies for focus, relaxation, grounding, a supercharger to help boost your energy at any point in the day, and neuro aerobics. I love this one because it gets your left and right brain communicating better with each other. The next one is your easy scan. The easy scan, this is the best way, I believe, to incorporate this device into your practice, because this takes 5 minutes or less for you to record a person's voice in 10 seconds. It will analyze 2,000 frequencies in their voice tone, pitch, and pattern, figure out which octaves are out of balance, and every octave is associated with a certain set of emotions. So inner voice is where we are able to identify the emotions that are out of balance for people. It picks out 4 of them that are most out of range, and then creates music files that have the exact octaves, frequencies, binaural beats, and tones that that person needs for their unique emotional state. These songs, my clients love them. I added this as an added bonus to my emotion code practice. They are so soothing, and they just help you feel more peaceful. The next part of the easy scan, it rolls right into this, so that all you have to do is tap one button and you get your inner voice. It rolls right into the vital scan, which is a scan of your blood biology over 462 different areas of cholesterol, red blood cell, white blood cell. That's where I was showing you those reports of all of those different parasites it was able to identify. That's from the vital scan. All the heavy metals it was able to identify, that's from the vital scan. I think it's also important to note that the depth of reporting and the details of reporting with this device is far more intricate than any other device that is out there. Nothing else will dive into these details like the AO scan can. After it does the vital scan, it sends the optimizing frequencies that you need for each of those areas in your vitals that was out of balance or out of range to push it back. Then it goes into the comprehensive scan, which is a pull of data from the inner voice program and a pull of data from the vitals. It's choosing out how are your emotions and how is your blood biology negatively impacting your physical anatomy. This is going to show you where your liver, your gallbladder, your heart, your brain, your nervous system, your skeletal system, your muscles are being affected by all of these other things that are energetically out of balance. It's going to scan for those, and then it's going to send optimizing frequencies to help push it back into range. Then it's also going to scan for chakras and meridians. Amazing. If you understand what those are and you are an acupuncturist or you are in any sort of energy type of work, then it's going to show an extensive detailed report of all of those things, generate frequency or generate music files for you to listen to. And all of this can be easily emailed to yourself or to your clients for them to review the full reports. That's how the easy scan works. It is a combination of inner voice, vitals, and comprehensive in a one-stop quick tap location. You can also just go in and do inner voice just by itself. You can go in and just do vitals. by itself, and you can select the specific areas that you want to scan if you don't want to do the whole thing. That's what I love about comprehensive too. If you have a patient or a client who's having specific organ or tissue issues, you can scan just those items of the skeletal system, the veins, chromosomes even, organs, and all of that. So it's a quick overview of the device, all of these amazing programs that it has to offer. And again, Cephi, with all of your different options for frequencies. This list, I'm not sure if you can see it. This is more of your feel-good stuff. It also has your love and your focus and your forgiveness, peace, calm, and tranquility energies. These are some of my favorites, the ones that I use nearly every day. But again, there's over 450 frequencies just for specific diseases and ailments, acute pain, chronic fatigue, back issues, digestive issues, virus, you name it. If you can think of it, there's very likely that it is here on this list. So yeah, now let's just dive in. Molly, do you have anything else to add? Okay. You're still muted.
Sorry, I don't think so. Just kind of opening it up for questions. I think if anybody's, got questions on kind of what we did with you or in general, of kind of the combination of things. So absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so someone did ask in the chat, what was the Parasite protocol that I started using? I got started with some cell core supplements. So this Para 1 came up for me in my scans, and this is a mimosa pudica seed extract, which is, there are specific parasites this helps to eliminate. I do believe one of them is like roundworm. So if you ever see that coming up on your scans, know that mimosa pudica seed is a great one. I really needed some liver and kidney support because my drainage pathways, my detox pathways were not open. Everything was like stagnant and stuck in my body. And I want to emphasize too, it is so important to remain hydrated, do extra hydration when you're detoxing. And before you start any parasite protocol, I recommend making sure that your detox pathways are open first. Otherwise, if you're like me and you don't do that, you just dive right into a parasite protocol, it will come out in your skin. They will come out in other ways. If they can't get out through certain avenues, they will find another way to irritate your body. Let's see. So if you scan supplements into your library, you cannot send the frequency of that supplement to a client. You can only identify if it is in resonance with their body, and then that's something that they need to purchase. So this is another thing that we emphasize with this device. We would never claim that frequencies will ever replace the physical supplements, vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that your body needs. They certainly can help, but we're never going to say like, you never have to take supplements again because all you need are frequencies. That's just simply untrue. Your body needs both the energetic and the physical aspect of those. And it will really only get that with actually consuming them. If you want to enhance your body's ability to, let's say, absorb a certain nutrient or vitamin or utilize a certain detoxification supplement, you can use the imprint option on your device, which is like a copy machine. So you can take the supplement and put it on the bottom of the screen and then place either sugar pills or water or some sort of alcohol-based tincture that you've created, and you can copy the energy of the supplement into those items to have an added benefit of consuming. It's almost like you are using a tuning fork and you are creating resonance with your body by consuming the energy of it, but you do also still have to take the physical supplement. Okay. So Christy, yeah, Molly, if you want to just share about dry blood analysis and how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am like 85, 90% telehealth. I mean, I work with clients all over the country, so I can simply just send you a blood kit and you can do this. And then we do, everything from analysis and protocols to over a Zoom call like this. And then I email you your whole analysis and pictures and everything, so we have something to later compare to. I normally give the body about 3 to 4 months time in between blood analysis. And the reason for that is we want enough time in between for tissue to regenerate and a lot of those stress responses in the blood to completely heal up and close. So that's kind of that time frame. But I'm happy. I will put my website in the chat so you guys can get a hold of me in that way, or just more information if you'd like.
Yeah, Molly is so great to work with. She's so knowledgeable, and it really is fascinating to see your blood under a microscope. It had been a couple of years since I had done something like that, and so I just thought, like, yeah, let's give it a try. But it is nice to know that this device is so accurate that it was already picking up on all of those things, and I really could have, done a protocol just based off of that alone. I did. I needed some support though of like, okay, which supplements should I use? Which ones are most in resonance with my body? I just so happen to have great access to all of this. So yeah, I just want to emphasize what an amazing tool, an educational tool the AO scan can be for people and for practitioners, that we have an opportunity right now to take our health back into our hands, that we can have information about what's happening in our bodies without having to ask anyone else's permission, that we can use this tool to then help others and give them the educational information that they need so that they can go and do what they wish with that info. Maybe cell core supplements aren't for somebody and they want to use something else. There's so many options out there. If it's, essential oils or homeopathy or different types of physical, like light therapy or sound therapy. You can use this device in so many different ways. It really does integrate seamlessly with whatever it is that you are currently doing. If you are someone who is helping people in any way on their healing journey, whether it's just emotionally based or it's just I don't want to say just, but if it's acupuncture or something like that, there truly is something for everyone to gain and benefit from having this device in their lives. So let's see, are there any other? Yeah, so how does this device compare to the Healy and other devices? In my personal opinion, this device blows them all out of the water. None of those other devices have the inner voice program, which is top of the line, most advanced technology for identifying the exact emotional imbalances that are occurring for people. And most of us probably will agree that emotions are 90% contributing factors to all diseases that exist. It is stress, it is trapped emotions, it is unresolved past trauma, and the founder of our company, Lauren Swenson, he wanted the whole world to have access to inner voice and only inner voice, because he truly believed that that was the most important program for changing health at a global scale. He just so happened to figure out how to get all of these other programs on this amazing handheld device, which all of this technology has been around for, some of it up to 40 years, some of it 20 years. But the AO scan used to be a large machine that you had to access in a clinic that cost $38,000. And they were able to scale it down to be handheld so that absolutely anyone could access it, and it's super affordable as well. So as far as it compares to the Healy, I haven't personally used the Healy, but we have several people on our team who own both of them. Some people find value in owning both of them because they do things a little bit differently. The AO scan keeps adding more value and more programs and more frequencies to this device without charging another dime. You get it, and what you pay for, you get all of the upgrades. You are not being upcharged for, well, now you have to pay extra to access this, and now you have to pay even more to access this. You get it all for one monthly price. And certainly whoever invited you here, we ask you to just meet up with them, connect with them after, and ask them to do a demo scan for you. Most of us here are offering demo scans for people who would like to experience this for yourself. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, the AO scan absolutely blows all of the other devices out of the water, because nothing else is going to provide you with the detail and reporting. The Healy is FDA approved for some certain specific health issues. And because they got FDA approval, there is a lot that they can't share with you in your reports. And there's a lot that they cannot specify, like they cannot have frequencies specifically for liver inflammation or colitis because they have that FDA approval. The AO scan is never going to be approved by the FDA, and Lawrence Swenson wants to keep it that way because he wants to be able to constantly update and change and be able to do whatever he wants with the device without having to answer to that higher power. So the price of the AO scan, yes, absolutely. So the AO scan retails for $618. That's the retail price. Anybody can go and get it for that price. However, Solex is incredibly generous, and we do offer a discounted option for preferred clients and for quantum living advocates. Preferred clients, it costs you absolutely nothing to join as a preferred client, and then that brings down the price of the device to only $495, plus everyone pays a monthly subscription of $149 a month to access everything that we talked about and showed you today. Again, it's a one price, all access subscription. And if you are a practitioner, I'm sure like me, you can just see like this pays for itself, because you can do scans on people and charge just for scans. You can send frequencies and charge just for sending frequencies. If you sign up as a quantum living advocate, which is the distributor level, it actually is the same deal. You get the device for $495. The monthly subscription is $149. Normally, it's $49 for the Quantum Living Advocate annual membership, but just this month in July until the 31st, that is only 49 cents. So it makes a lot of sense to sign up as a distributor. If you ever share it with anyone else, you can actually start a business with this and earn commission by sharing it with others. So if you have any questions about that, just get with the person who invited you. We are happy to go into the details of that. Like I said, do demo scans, answer any other questions that you have. So we just thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up now. Thank you, Molly, so much for everything that you shared. It was amazing. And Yes, please share this. This video it has been recorded. We're going to share it on YouTube as well as our Facebook pages. You can find us at Quantum Essentials, an AOScan independent community. So look for Quantum Essentials on Facebook if you want to join our public group. We would love to have you join our team as well. We hope to be in touch and hear from you all soon. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great night.